Hey guys, welcome to the video. In this video, we'll talk about statistics. Data consists of collection of pieces of information about the things you want to study. Statistics is based on data. It studies methodologies to gather data, review and analyze and draw conclusions from data. Now this information can take the form of various descriptions like quantities, measurements and other observations. And as you know, data is the new oil. And in digital technologies, working with data is one of the primary things that you'll do. Now, what there are various ways in which we can define data. For example, let's take this class itself. We collect some information about the student taking this course, such as ID, name, gender, and their level of experience with the subject. Now, all these data points can be put into certain buckets and can be described as the data is categorical or qualitative or quantitative. Now, let's talk about a few things that are used to describe what type of data we have. Mean, mode, median, and variance are a term that describe a measurement of central tendency, like where the data is leaning towards. Mean is the average of data set. Like for instance, in this example, we have a certain data set between 2 and 9. So the range of this data set will be 9 minus 2, which is 7. And these since these are 8 data points, we will have the mean as 5 dots, which is sum of all these data points divided by 8. And median is the middle value. So in the above list, the median is 5. The mode is a number that is repeated more often than others. In this data set, we have 5 that is being repeated twice. Now, variance is the sum of squares of difference between all numbers and its mean. It gives us a measure of how far the set of numbers are spread out from their average value. So this was just a basic overview of mode, median, and variance. Now let's jump into our Jupyter exercises and see how we can relate these things on an actual data set. So this is our Jupyter notebook, and we have already imported a dataset. So from sklearn datasets, we'll import load iris.dataset. And then we import other libraries as well, matplotlib, pandas, and all other libraries. Now we'll put this dataset into a variable and we'll call it iris. Now since the columns of this dataset are not yet defined, we'll define those columns as sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. Now, iris.head will give us a very basic overview of what this dataset looks like. These are the first 4 rows and columns of our dataset. Now, this is the important thing. In iris.describe, we can see all the things that we just saw, that we just learned about. So it will show us the count of number of values that are there in this dataset, the mean of those values, the standard deviation, the minimum values, and all other things. So this was about basics of statistics. In the future videos, we'll learn more about how do we visualize data set and how we can use probability to define the outcomes.